Full day. Today's book is called Chrysanthemum, and the author's goal in writing this book was all about teaching the readers how to love themselves and embrace who they are. And in this book, Chrysanthemum's name is the target of the whole, she's been targeted in school having a different name, and she stands out. And, all of us do. All of us have different names that have different meaning from different cultures, and how they're spelled is different. And that's a reason. There's a reason why someone has a different name, because we are all special and unique in our own way, right? And it's great to learn new names rather than everyone having the same name. That's boring. So let's look and find out, why Chrysanthemum has a hard time with her name. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' life. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Her name must be everything she is, said her father. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum, which is a flower. Chrysanthemum grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. She's cute. Right? She's loving herself. And her parents are radiating that love to her, showing her how much they love her and appreciate her and value her, and knowing that she does mean so much to them. And she's feeling that gratitude. She's feeling that compassion and love. And that's making her feel good. And she does have high self-esteem, right? When you feel good about yourself, you're surrounded by people that appreciate you and show that they respect you and love you. That makes you feel good, and people around you feel good. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day of school, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile, and she ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school! Right, she's so excited to go, to meet new friends, learn new things, get creative. There's so much to look forward to at school. And you're probably feeling that, right? Being away from school, and you're so used to going, and now that you're not, you might feel like you might miss school, not just with socializing, but you might miss the routine and the schedule and seeing people and learning new things. So even though at times at school you might be like, oh, school, I gotta go to school, but really you're probably appreciating and feeling grateful for school now. And maybe you might think of your perspective of school, and the way that you see it will change the next time we do go back into the schools. But when Mrs. Chudd took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. So there's Mrs. Chudd, and there's Don. So I'm just going to read the kids' names. Don, Eve, Louis, Al, Les, Kay, Max, Sue, Bill, Pat, Tom, Sam, Ken, Joe, Rita, Victoria, and then Chrysanthemum. You can see her name is extended out because it is a long name. But everyone's name's kind of is very short and simple. Doesn't really stand out that much. It's so long, said Joe about Chrysanthemum's name. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Right? And then getting that attention, getting that negative attention based on what other people think, and then putting it onto Chrysanthemum is totally changed how she's thinking about herself. Think about it. It just said Chrysanthemum wilted. Someone pointed at her and said, your name is different. Your name is weird. Your name is not like ours. So she feels like an outcast already. We might have felt that in school. I felt like that at times. Having a name Tatiana was very different in my school. I was the only Tatiana, I think, even in my whole town that I lived in Catskill. It was very different, and some people really like it, but for kids, they don't know any better. They pick on things that are different. It's just messed up. That bullying it's not even real. It's not even like important. But for little kids, one little thing really hurts them. The rest of the day was not much better, and during nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there is in the entire alphabet, Victoria exclaimed. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. It's kind of like, why are you calling around? There she is, like so like nervous and upset. She's just trying to hide and blend in. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her father. Welcome home, said her mother. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said mother. It's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and cheese and percheesy. And you can see here, this illustrator loves, and the author loves hiding things. So the mom is showing her love and affection and nurturing nature onto Chrysanthemum to make her feel better, and her dad is reading a book called The Inner Mouse, Volume 1, Childhood Anxiety. Think about what childhood anxiety is. When a child is worrying and frustrated and they're scared and they're nervous, right? Having that, being anxious, and learning about that to help his daughter. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted again. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. And there's Chrysanthemum putting her hands on her ears so she doesn't listen and hear what Victoria has to say. I just can't believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. And then she's taking that on. She's taking everything Victoria's saying personally. She's really thinking that whatever that bully Victoria's saying is real, and it's not. It's just one person's opinion. The opinion is not a fact. We have to remember that. And we have to remind our kids that too. And it really hurts. This stuff really hurts to see that. But we have to learn to stand up for ourselves. If something doesn't feel right, we shouldn't let someone make us feel like that and point us out that much. And welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is not a place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower, and they pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous. And envious, and begrudging, and discontented, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs, kisses, and parcheesi. And the book now that he's reading says, A Rose by Another Name, Understanding Identity. So identity is who we are. What do we identify with? What character traits that we have? Are we happy, sad, frustrated? Well, I'm sorry. I'm going all crazy. Those are emotions. Okay, so I'm sorry. Character traits are intelligent, athletic, creative, adventurous, all those things. Those are all those character traits. Thinking about who we are. And we do have that question growing up, who are we? What type of person we are? And do you identify with your name? Do you make your name better? Maybe that's it, rather than just you, your name doesn't own you. You own the name, right? That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. And you can see it. It's a terrible nightmare. Ugh. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. That's really good that she had those coping skills to, take the things that are good luck and to help her and to probably ease her anxiety and to make her feel good and reassure her that it's going to be okay. I do that with some of my crystals I put in my pockets or wear them as necklaces too. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school, so she's taking her time. She doesn't want to go. She's kind of dreading it. She's just worrying probably about what's going to happen next. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. The flowers seemed to say. And that morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as a spiffy butterfly princess. Jo was chosen as all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. So another flower. Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Jo, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She didn't think her name was absolutely perfect, and she thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum, was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, says Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria, and she's named after a flower. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would? Asked Rita, pointing. And Mrs. Twinkle said, I'm named after a flower, too. You are? Said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her eyes. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum. She's not alone. She can relate to someone. That's so beautiful. It's such a great warm feeling. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longly. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. It's beautiful. Great story. Also, it says on the back here, overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as a dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire Dance of the Flowers musical. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. So cute. I'm going to attach a worksheet to this video, and I want you to either print it out and color it and complete it, or you can color. I know some kids and some families have the tablet where you can color a coloring sheet on a tablet if you want, but this is a worksheet that I'm going to post right after this video, all about you. And look at this picture and take time completing it. Don't do it really, really fast and scribble it. It's all about you. What books that you like, what shows that you like, who are your friends, where do you live, how old you are, what's your name, right? Thinking about your identity and who you are and embracing that, right? There's only one you in the whole entire universe, and express that and be grateful for who you are and your name, right? And don't try to, I mean, you can have nicknames if you want, that's fun, but don't try to change yourself based on what other people think. That's not okay. And they probably think the same thing about them. If they're bullying and hurting someone else's feelings and not thinking that they're not good enough, how do you think they feel about themselves, right? So complete this worksheet. You can color it all you want. It's a wonderful sheet to just take that time to embrace who you are at this moment and keep it, because when you get older and you see what you've created, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I like that. Oh my gosh, like that's so cool. I love looking at things that I created when I was a kid. So take your time coloring it, and you can also share it with friends, share it with a family member. You can work on it maybe with a family member if you want. I hope you did enjoy the book and embrace the theme and what we talked about in the video. And if you do complete the worksheet, please feel free to post it on this video so you can share what you've created back on here by commenting. Whether it's on Facebook or on Instagram, you can share it and tag us in it, or tag us in your picture, so we can see what you created, right? We can see your character traits and your identity and the colors that you like and your name and what your favorite activities are and your animals and what type of books that you like to read. It's really great to learn from each other, because not only you're sharing who you are to other people, but you're also giving other people ideas, so you can bounce ideas off of each other. I hope you have a great day, and I cannot wait to see what you create in your worksheet. And remember to tag us in if you have any questions, just message us. Bye, everyone.